In 1992, Hangin with Mr. Cooper felt like a warm sitcom built on friendship, laughter, and simple life lessons. But more than 30 years later, the cast's real lives tell a far darker story. From affair rumors to sudden deaths, their journeys were anything but joyful. Join us as we uncover the truth behind them. Mark Curry as Mark Cooper. Mark Curry was born on June 1, 1961, in Oakland, California. At 31 years old, he played Mark Cooper, the former NBA player turned substitute teacher and gym coach, in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. The role became the emotional engine of the series, grounding the comedy in responsibility, patience, and quiet dignity. That stability was hard-earned. Curry grew up as the youngest of 9 children, sharing cramped living space and limited income in Oakland during the 1970s, when violent crime rates were among the highest in California. By his teens, he worked small jobs to help his family and used humor to deflect ridicule for being small and overlooked. This grind led directly to his breakout in Talkin' Dirty After Dark and later his casting on Hangin with Mr. Cooper. That instinct carried into adulthood, but stability never followed easily. Curry never married and had no children. While audiences laughed, he kept moving between stand-up stages and TV sets like It's Showtime at the Apollo and the Jamie Foxx Show, sustaining momentum without a place to exhale. Then, the body paid the price. In 2007, an aerosol can exploded near a water heater, burning over 20% of Curry's body and placing him in a medically induced coma. The recovery was brutal and slow, followed by severe depression and suicidal thoughts he later spoke about publicly. The accident didn't just scar his skin, it forced a reckoning with how close survival and collapse can sit. Today, Mark Curry is 65 years old, still performing stand-up comedy and appearing selectively on television, choosing control over volume. With an estimated net worth of about $4 million, his story now reads less like a sitcom arc and more like endurance. Holly Robinson. Pete as Vanessa Russell. Holly Robinson Pete was born on September 18, 1964, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. At 28 years old, she played Vanessa Russell, the sharp, self-possessed music executive, in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. Her performance steadied the show, giving emotional weight to moments that could have slipped into pure sitcom rhythm. That composure came from pressure in his childhood. As the daughter of Sesame Street actor Matt Robinson, Holly entered television before age 7, appearing briefly on the show but struggling with constant comparison to her father's legacy. By age 11, she was already working as a TV correspondent, balancing school with industry expectations. This early exposure fed directly into roles like 21 Jump Street and later Hangin with Mr. Cooper. Marriage intensified those demands. In 1995, she married former NFL quarterback Rodney Peete, and their partnership soon shifted from romance to resilience. When their son RJ was diagnosed with autism, Holly redirected much of her energy away from acting at its peak, choosing presence over momentum. The strain tested their marriage, but it also bonded them through shared purpose. Illness reshaped her world even further. After her father was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, Holly and Rodney co-founded the Holly Rod Foundation, transforming family pain into public advocacy. Career tensions, including her abrupt exit from the talk, added emotional friction, reinforcing that visibility often carries consequence. Now, Holly Robinson Peete is 62 years old, active as an actress, author, and advocate, balancing creative work with long-term activism. With an estimated net worth of around $4 million, her legacy rests not on longevity alone, but on the decision to turn private struggle into collective support, without ever losing her voice. Marquise Wilson as Tyler Foster. Marquise Wilson was born on September 20th, 1987, in Los Angeles, California. At 5 years old, he played Tyler Foster, the gentle, soft-spoken student, in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. His role added emotional balance to the series, grounding adult humor through a child's perspective. That early exposure came with weight in his early years. Before turning 7, Wilson had already appeared in over 90 episodes, splitting time between sound stages, tutoring sessions, and auditions. While still working on Hangin' with Mr. Cooper, he took on additional projects like Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction, learning early how quickly schedules could replace childhood routines. As he grew older, momentum slowed. Transitioning out of a long-running sitcom proved difficult, and roles became sporadic rather than steady. He appeared in projects such as Slammed, but the industry's interest shifted toward newer child faces, forcing him to reassess whether staying visible mattered more than staying whole. That shift required adjustment rather than collapse. Moving away from auditions meant redefining success without applause, credits, or weekly call sheets. The discipline learned on set, punctuality, preparation, responsibility, became tools for building stability outside entertainment rather than chasing a return to it. Today, Marquise Wilson is 39 years old, living in California and running One Way Catering, a business built on consistency rather than spotlight. With an estimated net worth of about $500,000, his story closes not as a cautionary tale, but as a quiet pivot, from early fame to a life chosen deliberately. Raven-Symon&e as Nicole Lee. Raven-Symon&e was born on December 10, 1985, in Atlanta, Georgia. At 7 years old, she played Nicole Lee, the sharp, scene-stealing cousin, in Hangin' with Mr. Cooper. Her presence injected speed, confidence, and comedic precision that made her instantly memorable. That confidence was forged under relentless scheduling. By age 3, Raven was already acting professionally. By 7, she was filming sitcoms while recording music and auditioning for films. During her time on Hangin' with Mr. Cooper, she also appeared in The Little Rascals and began building a resume that left little margin for rest or experimentation. Personal life arrived after years defined by work. Raven was in a relationship with Marie Livingston from 2012 to 2015, then married Miranda Pierman-Madej in 2020, choosing privacy after decades of visibility. The shift marked a recalibration. Less performance, more protection. Health became the deeper struggle. Years of image control, public commentary, and self-monitoring led to extreme weight loss and periods of depression, even as she fronted global successes like That's So Raven and the Cheetah Girls. Achievement continued, but it came alongside fatigue that success alone could not cure. In 2026, Raven-Symon&e is 41 years old, active as an actress, director, producer, and television host. With an estimated net worth of around $20 million, her legacy reflects survival through scale, fame at a young age, pressure at every stage, and the choice to remain present on her own terms. Omar Gooding as Irvin Rodman. Omar Gooding was born on October 19, 1976, in Los Angeles, California. At 16 years old, he played Irvin Rodman, the fast-talking high school friend with street smarts, in Hangin' with Mr. Cooper. The character injected youthful edge into the ensemble and widened the show's generational appeal. That momentum was shaped early. Growing up in a musical household as the son of Cuba Gooding Sr. and the younger brother of Cuba Gooding Jr., Omar entered the industry young, hosting Wild and Crazy Kids before his teens while classmates lived ordinary routines. The comparison pressure was constant, and early paychecks didn't erase uneven work cycles. Roles like Ghost Dad arrived, then gaps followed. Family life arrived alongside work demands. He became a father of 2 children, learning to split time between sets and home while opportunities rose and fell. Television runs such as Smart Guy and later Barbershop offered steadier footing, but balancing visibility with responsibility remained a daily negotiation rather than a victory lap. Career persistence replaced overnight breakthroughs. Critical notice came with Baby Boy as Sweet Pea, and later television stretches, Playmakers, Deadwood, and the long run on Family Time, proved durability. Each project reinforced reliability over hype, keeping him working when many peers disappeared. Today, Omar Gooding is 50 years old, active as an actor and comedian, with music releases under the name Big O and selective screen roles. With an estimated net worth of about $1 million, his arc reads as sustained craft, less about trophies, more about staying in the game. Nell Carter as P.J. Moore. Nell Carter was born on September 13, 1948, in Birmingham, Alabama. At 44 years old, she played P.J. Moore, the tough, no-nonsense authority figure, in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. Her gravitas anchored scenes instantly, carrying the weight of a performer who had already mastered the stage. That authority was forged through trauma in her childhood. By age 2, Carter witnessed her father's fatal electrocution. At 16, she was raped at gunpoint and became pregnant, a secret she carried for decades. Singing in church and coffee houses became survival, leading her north to New York, where Broadway finally opened. First heartbreak, then triumph with Ain't Misbehavin'. Marriage and loss followed success. Carter married George Krenicki in 1982 and later Roger LaRocque in 1992. Both unions ended in divorce amid miscarriages and adoption struggles. Even as Gimme a Break made her a household name and earned Emmy and Golden Globe nominations, private stability remained elusive. Health battles compounded the strain. Long-term cocaine addiction, periods of detox, diabetes, and heart disease shadowed her work. Surgeries for aneurysms and financial collapses added pressure. She kept performing, Broadway revivals, guest roles, and recordings while fighting to stay upright. On January 23, 2003, Nell Carter died at 54 after collapsing at her Beverly Hills home. The cause ruled arteriosclerotic heart disease with diabetes as a contributing condition. Interred at Hillside Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles, she left an estimated net worth of about $2 million and a legacy that fused pain, power, and unmistakable presence. Dawnn Lewis as Robin DuMars. Dawnn Lewis was born on August 13, 1961, in Brooklyn, New York. At 31 years old, she played Robin DuMars, the independent, no-nonsense best friend and roommate, in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. Her character brought maturity and emotional grounding to the show's first season, counterbalancing youthful chaos with authority and warmth. That authority came from turbulence at home. Lewis grew up in a household marked by repeated domestic conflict between her parents, exposure that forced emotional self-control early. By age 4, she turned to singing. By 11, to acting, not as hobbies, but as structured escapes. This intensity carried her through elite training at New York's High School of Music and Art, and later into demanding stage work like the Tap Dance Kid Tour. Career momentum accelerated fast. Her breakout as Jaleesa Vinson Taylor on A Different World made her a defining face of late 1980s television, and she even co-wrote the show's iconic theme song. Leaving that success to join Hangin with Mr. Cooper was a risk. When the show changed direction after one season, Lewis pivoted quickly, expanding into film, Dreamgirls, and high-volume voice work across animation and games. Marriage added another strain point. Lewis married Johnny Newman in 2004, but the relationship fractured under competing schedules and long periods apart, ending in divorce by 2006. The split coincided with an industry shift toward voice acting and theater, where she rebuilt consistency through projects like Futurama, The Boondocks, and later Broadway's Tina. Today, Dawnn Lewis is 65 years old, actively working as a respected voice actress and performer, most notably as Captain Carol Freeman on Star Trek Lower Decks. With an estimated net worth of about $4 million, her career stands as a study in adaptation, turning early instability into longevity across mediums. Saundra Quarterman as Geneva Lee. Saundra Quarterman was born on June 26, 1968, in Savannah, Georgia. At 24 years old, she played Geneva Lee, the protective cousin and stabilizing maternal figure, in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. The role shifted the sitcom's tone, introducing responsibility and family structure where chaos once ruled. Her preparation was unusually precise. After high school, Quarterman earned a scholarship to Juilliard, entering one of the most competitive acting programs in the U.S. Just 2 weeks before graduating, she stepped directly into a major television role on All My Children, replacing a lead character mid-run. Film success followed quickly but unevenly. Her appearance in The Pelican Brief placed her inside a high-profile Hollywood production early, yet momentum proved difficult to sustain. Television roles brought visibility, but casting narrowed, and the industry offered fewer transitions for actors emerging from sitcom ensembles rather than blockbuster leads. The challenge became longevity, not talent. As opportunities slowed, Quarterman shifted toward selective roles and personal priorities rather than chasing constant visibility. The decision kept her out of tabloid narratives but also placed her career in quieter territory, defined by steady professionalism rather than headlines. By 2026, Saundra Quarterman is 58 years old. Living away from constant media attention while remaining connected to the industry she entered at full speed. With an estimated net worth of about $1 million, her path reflects a different survival story. Roger E. Mosley as Coach Ricketts. Roger E. Mosley was born on December 18, 1938, in Los Angeles, California. At 54 years old, he played Coach Ricketts, the disciplined, old-school authority figure, in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. The role reinforced the show's moral backbone, drawing on Mosley's long-earned screen gravitas rather than sitcom exaggeration. That gravitas was forged early. Mosley grew up in Imperial Court's public housing in Watts, an area defined by poverty, racial tension, and limited opportunity in the 1940s and 1950s. Raised primarily by his mother, he learned structure through necessity, not comfort. By his teens, acting became a disciplined outlet, later reflected in serious early film work such as The Mac and Terminal Island, where he carried intensity rather than charm. Career credibility arrived before comfort. In 1976, Mosley earned critical praise portraying blues legend Leadbelly, followed by global recognition as T.C. Calvin on Magnum, P.Y., a role that made him a television fixture throughout the 1980s. That stature carried into his later years, allowing him to move between drama and comedy with ease, including recurring turns on Hangin with Mr. Cooper and appearances in A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Stability came through family. Mosley was married to Antoinette Tony Laudermilk for nearly 60 years, raising 3 children while maintaining one of Hollywood's quietest private lives. He avoided drugs and alcohol entirely, insisting on personal discipline both on and off screen, a rarity in an industry built on excess. In August 2022, Mosley was critically injured in a car accident, suffering paralysis before passing away on August 7, 2022, at the age of 83. With an estimated net worth of around $3 million, he was laid to rest remembered less for spectacle than for dignity, an actor who carried authority not because it was written, but because it was lived. Dominic Hoffman as Thaddeus Jameson White. Dominic Hoffman was born on October 30, 1962, in the United States. At 30 years old, he played Thaddeus Jameson White, the articulate, principled, professional voice in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. His character added intellectual weight and calm authority, sharpening the show's social edge without diluting its humor. That steadiness came from preparation rather than spectacle. Hoffman's early years were academically focused, culminating in a degree from UC Santa Cruz, where language and literature shaped his craft. Instead of chasing quick exposure, he pursued rigorous training across institutions, a choice that delayed visibility but built range, skills later evident in precise television turns and demanding stage work. Career traction arrived in layers. After Hangin with Mr. Cooper, Hoffman leaned into character-driven roles that valued restraint over flash, appearing on A Different World and then earning recognition on The Shield as Louis Sperling, a performance noted for control and psychological nuance. These parts didn't make headlines, but they built trust, leading to continued work on Grey's Anatomy and other ensemble dramas. Parallel to television, he forged a distinct lane in theater and voice. Hoffman's one-man play Uncle Jacques' Symphony won multiple Ovation Awards, confirming him as a writer-performer with depth, while his audiobook narration, crowned by a 2017 Audie Award for Homegoing, expanded his influence beyond the screen. The path favored craft longevity over celebrity spikes. Today, Dominic Hoffman is 64 years old, active as an actor, playwright, and acclaimed narrator, dividing time between Venice, California, and Paris. With an estimated net worth of about $500,000, his career reads as a deliberate build, measured choices, earned respect, and a body of work that values precision over noise. Louis Dix Jr. as Lydell. Louis Dix Jr. was born on May 5, 1962 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. At 30 years old, he played Lydell, the grounded, straight-talking presence, in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. The role added everyday realism to the ensemble, giving scenes a lived-in tone that balanced the show's broader comedy. That realism traced back to the city that raised him. Growing up in Philadelphia during the 1970s and early 1980s meant navigating dense neighborhoods, limited resources, and constant street pressure. Dix leaned into focus rather than spectacle, channeling that environment into discipline that later translated on screen. Early credits like Matlock sharpened his timing and restraint, traits that carried into his sitcom work. Career traction came through consistency, not flash. After Hangin with Mr. Cooper, Dix landed film and television roles that rewarded reliability, including the thriller The Net, where precision mattered more than visibility. Each project reinforced his reputation as a dependable character actor, someone producers could trust to anchor scenes without stealing them. Family steadiness ran parallel to work. Married to Alicia since 1990, Dix built a home life with 2 children, prioritizing continuity as opportunities ebbed and flowed. The balance between auditions and family routines shaped his choices, keeping his career selective and sustainable rather than sprawling. Now, Louis Dix Jr. is 64 years old, living a quieter professional rhythm while remaining connected to the craft that defined his early decades. With an estimated net worth of about $300,000, his story settles into something rare in the industry: longevity grounded in commitment, measured work, and a life kept intact. Kelly Perine as Mr. Morley. Kelly Perine was born on March 23, 1969 in State College, Pennsylvania. At 23 years old, he played Mr. Morley, the sharp, scene-stealing faculty presence, in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. The role punctuated episodes with quick wit and authority, adding texture to the school world ensemble. That adaptability had roots in motion. Perine's childhood involved frequent moves, a rhythm that forced fast adjustment to new classrooms and social circles. Instead of settling, he learned to perform, first in school settings, then formally at Lake Forest Academy, where stage training replaced instability with craft. The constant reset sharpened timing and observation, skills that later translated cleanly to sitcom beats. Momentum built through repetition, not a single break. After college and graduate training, Perine stacked roles that rewarded versatility, landing regular turns on Between Brothers and The Parent. Hood. The steady climb culminated in One-on-One as Dwayne Odell Knox, where he held comedic focus across multiple seasons while continuing to pop up across network comedies. Range kept the work coming. Perine moved fluidly between film, independent projects, and youth-focused T-Fai, later anchoring Nickelodeon roles like Principal Platt and Sir Gareth. Writing and producing followed, expanding his lane beyond acting into authored features and unscripted formats. Today, Kelly Perine is 57 years old, active as an actor, writer, and producer, developing projects he writes and stars in while maintaining a wide television footprint. With an estimated net worth of about $1 million, his career reads as a long game, built on adaptability, repetition, and the choice to keep creating. Kristoff St. John as Eric Kristoff. St. John was born on July 15, 1966, in New York City. At 26 years old, he played Eric, the confident, socially aware young professional in Hangin with Mr. Cooper. The role fit naturally into his early 1990s momentum, reinforcing his image as a composed leading man capable of grounding ensemble scenes. That composure was shaped by an early start that left little room to pause. Raised around sets through his father, producer-actor Kristoff St. John, Kristoff was working before most children understood the industry. By age 10, he was already appearing on television, and by his teens, he carried the pressure of expectations that came with early praise. Roles like Roots, The Next Generations, and Charlie and Company accelerated maturity, but also compressed childhood into deadlines and performance. Adulthood brought acclaim alongside strain. St. John married boxer Mia St. John, and together they raised children while his career surged on The Young and the Restless, where he originated Neil Winters and became one of daytime television's most honored actors. 2 Daytime Emmy Awards and 10 NAACP Image Awards followed, yet the long-running intensity of soap production demanded emotional endurance year after year. Tragedy broke that balance. In 2014, his son Julian died by suicide after years of mental illness, a loss that plunged St. John into profound depression. Though he continued working and later married Alana Nadal, the grief lingered, intersecting with an underlying heart condition that quietly worsened as he pushed forward. On February 3, 2019, Kristoff St. John died at 52 in his Los Angeles home. His death ruled accidental due to hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. With an estimated net worth of about $1.5 million, he was remembered not only for awards, but for a career carried through personal devastation. An actor whose strength on screen concealed a life marked by love, loss, and relentless pressure. What began as a light-hearted sitcom in 1992 became a quiet time capsule of real lives, careers that soared, paths that shifted, and battles no one saw coming. Looking at the Hangin with Mr. Cooper cast then and now, the smiles feel different, the stories heavier, the changes impossible to ignore. So which transformation shocked you the most, and who do you think was changed forever by fame? Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you want more then and now stories you truly won't recognize.